We deployed the pollinator cameras in the summer of 2024 and 2025 at your site, and we put them above thyme bushes, the Mediterranean thyme bushes.
Okay.
And for the seasonal dynamics, we found a large number of bees visit the flowers, but mostly honeybees and several other groups of insect visitors. So you have mostly honeybees coming to the thyme.
Okay.
And then for some less great news, we found a rapid decline in the number of pollinators visiting the flowers over time. However, this
Really?
is, yes, but it's mostly linked to the wilting of the flowers. So when the flowers start to die off, less and less bees start to come.
Because there's no supply of food or pollen, I assume. There's
Yeah,
less supply. Yep. All right.
yeah. And then for the diurnal dynamics, honeybees seem to be most active during the day, and it seems that the temperature doesn't bother them at all.
Okay.
However, for bumblebees, in contrast, they appear to be mostly active during the earlier half of the day, so maybe the temperature affects them a little bit.
Okay.
Now, were you involved with the setup or operation? I don't believe so, of the
No, I
MAMBO
wasn't.
device.
I wasn't. I was only involved in the beginning, at the start of the project, when we've met with the farmer, which
Okay, so
that's what it is.
um, just a little bit over the device that we deployed at your site. So it's just a pollinator camera. So it's basically just a camera that's up on top of like a pedestal almost.
Yes.
And it overlooks the thyme bushes or whichever bushes you want to record that day.
All
I
right.
guess,
You had only one camera on site, right?
yes, only one.
Yes. And were you monitoring just one plant or a series of or an area?
I'm sorry, could you say again?
Were you monitoring one plant or an area? How was the camera focusing?
Oh,
What was the sort of information the camera was getting?
yeah, so we were monitoring multiple areas, but always over thyme bushes.
Okay, okay,
But we
various
did move
areas.
the camera.
Okay, oh, I understand. Okay.
All right, so let me jump to this interview. Okay, so I just have to ask some basic questions. So, what is your role in the site?
Okay, I'm the CEO of the Federation and the Senior Conservation Officer at the Maestro Park.
Okay, and what would you say makes Magistral ecologically important?
What, sorry? Tell me again.
What would you say makes your site ecologically important?
Okay. It's ecologically important because there's a variety of habitats, species of flora and fauna, and it's also a protected area where at least some damage is being sort of reversed through the regeneration of sites and planting the trees. So we're increasing biodiversity in some areas where degradation was recorded in the past. And it's a protected area where most of the activities are sort of not permitted. So there's no
Okay.
off-roading, hunting is restricted, access by cars. You can't go in by cars unless you have a valid permit from us and so on.
Nice.
I'd
That's
say
nice.
these things help in creating a good biodiversity in the area and keeping it sort of in a pristine um, condition,
I would say so as
just
well.
as much as possible, let's say.
So, are there any biodiversity issues that are pressing right now?
Yes. Fortunately, some invasive species and obviously pressure from time to time by or excess farming and so on. Pesticides could be a problem along the area where we're studying, we're monitoring, because there's a lot of farming area on that part. There's farming going on.
Okay. And then have you observed any changes to the habitat or ecosystem within the past 5 or 10 years?
Yes, I did observe an increase in habitat cover. Obviously, there are some areas which are still regenerating, but some areas, in the past years we did a lot of rationalization of pathways, closing access pathways, we're regenerating them. We're maintaining a simple path as much as possible for walkers and cycling. And luckily, those areas which we've closed off are now regenerating. So basically, percentage-wise, the habitats are increasing in a small rate, but they're increasing in sense.
Gotcha. Then I'm just gonna jump back up because I missed a question. How long
ahead.
have you been in your position for?
I've started working here in 2009.
Oh wow. So you've been there for a while.
Yeah, quite, yeah.
Nice. So now we're gonna talk about some monitoring needs. So do you think that the technology could be a good solution for monitoring biodiversity on the reserve?
Definitely. Yes, 100%.
Wonderful. And how do you currently collect and manage biodiversity data?
Drone footage, photos,
Okay,
and on-site visits, basically. At Golden
gotcha.
Bay, then we have a different system. We have we manage the sand dunes at Golden Bay as well.
Mhm.
So basically, we have a project over there which we're counting visitors at Golden Bay and even here at the entrance of the park to know how much visitors we're having. And there's a camera on the sand dunes at Golden Bay which monitors the sand dunes so we can see the development and changes in the sand dunes throughout the year. So that's another mode of monitoring biodiversity in the area.
Okay,
So we want to extend that system throughout the park, but it's a project which will take some time to possibly be possible to do.
and do you have enough manpower to do that?
We're three and all in there. You do the maths.
Oh, okay. That
So
seems to be the
yes,
way it
we
goes.
do it, but it's maybe sometimes the period is extended a bit more because we're busy on other things, you know.
Mhm. So, what research questions would you like to address with the biodiversity monitoring tools? Or is there a research question that you could think of?
Okay. To what extent maybe habitats are growing year by year?
Mhm.
What are the issues which might impede habitats to increase? Maybe. What are the problems which would affect them? Maybe transferring or dumping or other uses mainly. I think that would be my sort of questions which I would go.
Okay.
But I'm speaking about the general area of the park, not a specific site, you know.
Mhm.
I'm including areas where there's farming, areas where there's enough fishing, maybe.
Yeah, a
Diving,
variety.
different textures, different uses, and different areas.
Okay. And then are there any areas around Malta that you think the MAMBO devices, including the pollinator cameras, should be utilized?
Yes, why not? If it's something which you can get good information at, why not? I mean, you could maybe compare different sites. If you have more than one site where the study is being done and compare the results, maybe there's something different in different locations. I don't know, maybe.
Could be.
Right? Proximity to farms. Have you checked whether there are beehives in the area? There are. Obviously, there are.
We
Joe has a lot of bees over
yeah,
there. So
we
would
didn't
it
exactly
affect
do
if it's an area where there's beehives and an area where there isn't any beehives? Would um, would you sort of monitor or report more bees in areas where there's beehives?
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they could be interesting. Then, are there any aspects of this project that you wish you would have been more involved in, like the deployment, the troubleshooting, results, analysis?
I believe I was kept quite informed by Mario every now and then on what was
Okay,
going on.
that's good.
I mean,
And
for
then,
us, knowing what the project was, and then gaining, getting hold of the results, it's quite a good sort of thing, you know.
yeah, I agree. And then, what kind of technical support or resources would be most helpful for you and your team if utilizing these cameras by yourself? Like, would you need, say, like training, or would
Yes,
you need
definitely.
the manpower to like help you set them up?
Probably yes. Training and manpower to set them up. As I said, we're a small
Okay.
team, so we're quite busy on other things
Okay,
around the park. Yeah.
fair enough. So I'm gonna assume that you would be interested in collaborative workshops and knowledge exchange sessions.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Let's see here. If you were to adopt any MAMBO devices in the future, how much time would you be able to designate to them? I'm gonna assume maybe not a lot since you are a pretty small team.
Depends on the requirements of the work. Actually,
Okay,
we
I
could
mean,
find a schedule and include it in our work program, let's say.
some
If
of
it doesn't
the,
involve a lot of time and work on a daily
yeah,
basis, that would be everything possible to do.
yeah,
But
some
it's
of the MAMBO
something which we need to
devices,
monitor once a week or twice a week. Be more easy for
yeah,
us.
some of the MAMBO devices are a little more intricate, so they need a little more attention. Some of them don't. Say like the pollinator cameras, I think those are probably the less time consuming
Okay,
device that we have.
most probably as well.
Or the audio moth. I don't know if you were told about the audio moth, but it's like a recorder and it records the noises of bats and birds and crickets and grasshoppers,
Yes,
all
okay.
that kind of stuff.
I've heard about
So
it, yes.
yeah, so I think that one is also less time consuming. So
Yeah.
just for the future, maybe.
I know.
And then in your opinion, what incentives or support would encourage a wider adoption of these monitoring tools among managers?
What incentives? Incentives related to whom? Farmers, us as managers, general public.
Well, for you, I would say you as manager.
For me, yes. The benefits. Sorry, tell me the question again. I got confused.
So if you were to adopt any of the MAMBO devices in the future, how much, wait, that is not it. Hold on. Where did they go? Okay. Oh, yeah. So in your opinion, what incentives or support would encourage a wider adoption of these monitoring tools?
Well, support maybe to um, review the data and come out with the results.
Okay.
Something which we could do for us rather than us who can take care of the equipment.
Yeah.
And then getting hold of the results would be a good incentive for us.
Okay. And just so you know, these devices, we actually are going to keep them, even though the MAMBO project is finished in August. So if you wanted to do any like collaborative research or anything, we might be open to that.
Very good. Okay.
So then, what would be your main concerns if you adopted a MAMBO device in the future?
My main concern would be vandalism or items being stolen.
Yeah, that's the same for us.
That's
Yeah.
the most of it. But however, having said that, if the equipment is placed in a field where someone is monitoring it every day, like a farmer, it would be much easier.
Yeah, that's
Or
true.
if it's hidden, there are some areas which are not frequented much in the park.
Yeah.
No, not in the main walking trails or main walking routes. So it might be easier to place equipment over there, might be safer.
Yeah, I agree. And then, well, the next question is if adopted, do you have the staff available to manage these devices?
Okay, I've
That's a
answered
no.
that already.
Yeah. Um, if there is a reason, what would you say is the strongest reason for against using the MAMBO devices? Would it just be
Yeah,
time
not being
consumption?
able to manage the situation.
Okay, fair enough. And then let's see. Would you be interested in deploying pollinator cameras again in addition to other MAMBO devices?
Yep, I would.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. So thank you so much for making
You're
the time.
welcome.
Super, super appreciate it.